everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the gallery, and we'll just start with a few words here tonight. I think that I know most of the people here this evening, but my name is Michael Doyle, and I'm the chairman of the board of directors of the Triangle Gallery. I would just like to say that I appreciate everybody coming out on such a cold night to what I think is a truly spectacular show that I think is significant to all of us as Canadians and as Calgarians. I think that everybody that's here I've got a variety of relationships with, but one of the things that I've been involved with over the past few years is a philosophy group here in Calgary known as the Aperon Society for the Practice of Philosophy. And you wonder why I'm telling you about that, but one of the things that we've looked at extensively in that philosophy group is what is it that constitutes a community? What is it that binds a community together? And of course, one of the things that we always come back to when we talk about that is things that we broadly know as culture. And of course, art is one of those things. And so what we've got here tonight is an art that's indicative of the culture of a time that, looking back on it even 50 years later, is significant in terms of things that have happened in Canada. And so we bring this together as part of a broader show in Calgary that you'll find a program for that art walk here tonight, just as an opportunity for everybody to study this period and to learn from it. And I think that's what's interesting in terms of looking at cultures. Certainly I always enjoy that because I find that other cultures have dealt with problems, with issues, whether it's political or otherwise, that are some things are things that we're going to confront as we go through life as well. And I think there's always something to learn. So I appreciate everybody coming tonight, taking the opportunity to learn about this period in Canadian art. So I think that's really all I wanted to say before I introduce our curator, Jacek Melek. I think other than that, I'd be remiss if I didn't invite everybody here to consider supporting the Triangle Gallery and the Calgary Contemporary Arts Society in terms of continuing with the mandate that we have, which is to bring mostly artists from the Calgary region, but also shows like this to Calgarians. And as you'll understand, evenings like tonight, we don't charge an admission fee, but we sure love to have people join us for a small cost to be members of our organization. So thank you very much for coming. What I will do is now introduce Jacek Melek. Jacek is the curator of our gallery and certainly one of the people responsible for bringing this show, and he's the one that will tell you some more profound things about where the art came from and what it's all about. So Jacek, it's yours. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone, and belated Happy New Year. And, well, I'd like to thanks very much for you for being brave and joining us tonight, despite the quite challenging weather. Yes, indeed, the Triangle Gallery, for the past 22 years, since the inception in 1988, has been bringing to Calgarians the exhibitions of the both national and international stature, and for the past 10 years, since the year 2000, the Triangle Gallery has organized a cultural or international artistic exchange between the Calgary and the major art centers in the Netherlands, Greece, Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, China, Finland, Portugal, and at the same time we brought that the major works of the artists from those respective countries to Calgary to see and to view and to see the differences, commonalities between those distant communities. Well, we live now in the global village, and therefore through the internet that exchange could be even much better. But stating that the works are, the physical aspect or the physical, emotional, intellectual contact with the works of art is very important, and therefore that was the main reason to create an undivided cultural highway between the Calgary and both national and international communities. It's important also to market the artists from Calgary, Western Canada, and from other centres in Canada on the international stage. And to tell you the truth, Canadian art is still terra incognita, and it's a known territory in many cases, in several cases, and it's vice versa. We don't know very much about the art from Czech Republic, from Poland, from Portugal. And so those exchanges, this principal philosophy that guides us, or has been guiding us since 1988, it's very important to bring and to appreciate our culture outside and their culture here in Calgary and in Canada. So that's one of the aspects. And the second aspect is also to provide the Calgarians and the visitors to the city with the broad range of the exhibitions of the national significance. And what you see today is the exhibition that really truly speaks about those national value. The works were created nearly 60 years ago, but the discussions I have had with few young artists, the recent graduates from the university and from the art college, and in their view, the works were still fresh. There was still that chemistry, that emotional chemistry, intellectual chemistry that they had between them as the viewers, spectators, and the works of art. They were not created very easily. We have to know that 1940s, it's not very modernist abstract art was created in Canada, maybe with the exception of the few sort of autonomous islands in Montreal, Winnipeg. Bertram Brucker was one of them, and I'm talking about the early artist John Lyman, who arrived from Paris in the 1930s. He was very much involved with the Fifth Movement, with Henri Matisse, and he was made a principal assistant to Henri Matisse, and he brought that freshness of the European modernism to Montreal. And then it was Alfred Pellan who returned to Canada in 1940, actually after the invasion of Nazis, when the Nazis overran France in June. But he brought those contacts and also the fresh ideas. He was very much tied up with the surrealist movement, and that was actually that surrealist movement, that automatic approach to an immediate approach to the canvas in terms of the visual arts, because the surrealist movement was practically the literary movement itself. He was talking about and André Breton actually, when he created that manifest, he basically oscillated that manifest around the literary art, and then eventually that spilled into the visual culture. So when Pellan arrived, he brought those fresh ideas about that automatic approach and plant that seed in the brains and eyes of the younger generation of the artists. So what especially Paul-Émile Bourdois, and Paul-Émile Bourdois was one of his best students, very promising, the intellectual, the guy who was really brave, and he had also the camaraderie of his young students. He was a teacher and eventually became the dean at the École des Meubles in Montreal, and he brought that major influence, the European influence of that avant-garde from the School of Paris to this young generation of the artists. And the School of Paris at that time was not a French phenomenon. If you look at the School of Paris of I would say from 1915 till the 39 that was the international movement. The artists from Russia like Kandinsky, Marc Chagall, the creation of the abstraction création in 1931, 8 years ago.